Now we're going to look at the SAP background jobs. Now in brief, before I start, I just want to let you know in briefly that what is SAP background jobs. Now in real-time SAP system, there are so many background jobs running in the background. So they can be running in the daytime, they can be running overnight, depending on the type of jobs. So I will discuss what's the difference in this video later on. So, but not only from SD, MM, PP, WM, FI modules perspective, but from technical module perspective, there are also a lot of jobs running in the background, especially when you talk about BICYS module. So for example, there are emails, we need to send out the emails from the system. So there's a background job running every 10 minutes, okay, in the real-time environment. And there can be same way there are some other components within the BICYS module that need to do some background functioning in order to for the system to work from BICYS point of view. So in that way there are a lot of jobs there, but in this video I'm going to talk about how a functional person can create and manage background jobs and what are the benefits of using the background jobs. So let's have a look. So first we understand what is a background job in SAP. Background job is a non-interactive process that runs behind the normal or the foreground process. That, as the name is saying, background, that means it's running in the background and you can't see it. You can keep using a SAP system normally and you can't see what's happening behind the screen. That's called background. They run in parallel and do not disturb the interactive or the foreground processes and the operations. It is scheduled using the transaction code SM36 and can be monitored using the transaction code SM37. Now we'll look at the benefits of using background jobs. So first benefit is that it reduces manual effort and automates the task. It can be scheduled as per the user choice. So what that means is scheduled as per the user choice is that, for example, we have our own choice. For example, we can schedule a job to run only on weekdays or every day or fortnightly or weekly or monthly, or even after 10 minutes, even after 30 minutes. There's a lot of settings we can manage as per our own choice. It reduces user interaction and can run seamlessly in the background without user input. Ideal for the time-consuming, intensive programs which can be scheduled to run in the night when system load is low. So there's a lot of processing in the SAP system that can be time consuming, or when they run it, they can put a lot of load on the system. So for example, MRP run, when we run MRP, it can take a lot of time to run the MRP. And there's some other processes like in SD, if you want to run billing creation job, it can take a lot of time if there are hundreds of jobs needs to run. You can also run a report in the background and deliver the output to an email ID as well. So not only those MRP jobs and all that, but for example, it's a simple report, okay, simple report or a standard transaction with some report output. We can also run as a background and we can deliver to any email ID as well. So all these things we're going to discuss. Before I show you, I just want to show you some examples in SAP SD. What are the different SAP SD or jobs types? So one example is, for example, schedule sales order. There is a transaction code V_V2, and that we can use to reschedule the sales order. So sales order is rescheduled when is any change in the MRP or delivery date. What was planned before, now it's different. Now we can reschedule it, and that will update the sales order, and that's a program name. Same way we have, if you want to create billing, VF04 is a transaction, and that's the program name. Even we can send the output for sales order, delivery, and billing output via background job, and that's a job name. These are the transaction code where we maintain those output types. And in MM we can have some examples. For example, rescheduling of the STOs, We can also use the same program like for the sales orders, the same program name. Running MRP, that's one of the important thing happening in the background. MD01 is the transaction code, or MD01N as well, and that's a program name. And we can also convert purchase requisition to purchase order automatically, either manually via this ME59 transaction code, or this is a program name we can use for the background job. Same way, we have some examples in SAP PP module where we want to convert planned orders to production orders. That's a transaction code CO41. We can also mass release production order depending on some criteria. CO05N is the transaction code, and also the long-term planning MS01 is a transaction code. So same way, for example, in WM module, we want to automatically create the create the PO, for example, transport order, or you want to process some documents. So there are a lot of different ways, and same goes for FI module, PM module, everywhere. So let me show you how we can do this. So before I show you how we can create the background job, let me show you how to find the program name. For example, if I run transaction VF04, and that's a transaction to create the billing document in SD, but you can go to the system and status, and here you will find the program name. So that's the program name here. Same way, for example, if I need to say another transaction, say MD01N, and here you can go to system, status, and you can also find the program name for MRP like this. Most of the time the program name written here should be fine, but occasionally it may not be right, but 95% should be fine. In that case you need to Google it. But as I said, most of the time you will find the right name. And not only this, for example, if there's a report you want to send via background to a user, and for example, if I show you VA05 transaction, this is a transaction for the open, you can, if you want to see the list of sales order or the open sales order. So there's a requirement that for this customer, say customer 215, somebody wants to see the open sales order or all the sales order in the company. There's some filters here as well, like we can select open sales order, and I can run it, and for example, then it will show me all the open sales order. Then we can also run it as in the background, and the data that you can see on this screen will be sent to that person as per the schedule, for example, every day or every week or something like that. So all we need is a program name. Again, for this one, again, you can go to systems, and here you can then see that's a program name. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we can create the background job. So first you need the program name, and also need to create the variant for the program name. So let's take example. If I go to you can go to SA38 or SE38, any transaction, to open that program first. Let me pick this program, which is RMMRP000. If I execute that, you will see that's a program to run the MRP. So for this one, I need to create a variant first. Variant means what are the default values for plant and all the thing that you want to use when this report will run. So usually we don't run it for everything. We run it for some specific data. What should be the create purchase requisition field? What should be the schedule line field, like that. So let me create a quick example. Like I want to run it for plant, say only one plant at a time for now, say 1201, and processing type should be this one. That's fine. Create purchase rec should be 2. Let me pick some values from here, and maybe another one. Planning mode should be not 1, should be 2, for example, right? So this should be the data when I run it. So let me save it and press enter for any warning, and I'll say, just give it a name, like I'll say plant 1201, for example. I can say test MRP, for example. Here you can select only for background job. If I select this one, that means this variant can only be used for the background job and can't be used for foreground. But if I uncheck this one, it can be used for foreground and background both. So let's uncheck and save it. Now if I come back again, to this transaction again. Now you can see a little icon here. If I click on this icon, you will see get variant. If I select my variant that I just created, that means you can see now it's using its default values. But as soon as I select my variant, it will copy the data that I created for the variant. So you can see there's the plant, there's the create purchase rec 2 and planning mode 2, like that. So any default values that you want to use during the planning run or during the background job, you can select it here. Now what you need to do is you need to copy this program name, and now you need to go to SM36 transaction. SM36. Here you need to give a job name. So different people uses different job name. For example, some people will create the same name as a program name as a job name, but some consultant will use like ZMRP, for example. I can also enter plant, for example, if you want to be specific. Okay, so let's call it ZMRP. And job class is C. By default is C, but here you can make it C means low priority, high priority, middle priority. You can give it a priority. That means if I press F1 on this one, you can see the meaning of this priority. So what that means is when different jobs are running at the same time, not only this one, other jobs are running at the same time. So system will be first run the high priority one, then it will consider second priority, middle priority, and the last low priority will be running at the last time. So that's it. And now we need to go to steps. If I go to steps here, by default it will show me my user ID. That means my user ID will be used to run it. But some companies, what they're using is they created a generic ID to run the background job. For example, SAP support, for example, some companies have created, for example. Let me close it. I'll start again this screen so that it will copy my ID. So that's fine. And here, copy your program name. That's my program name. And when I open the variant, I will select my variant here, right? I can check and then click on this save icon. You will see there's one entry created. So within this background job, I can create more than one steps. So this is called step 1. If I go to the SA38 program again, let me create one more variant. So the reason is, for example, now I want to run it, also want to run it in the background for another plant, which is 1301. I'll call it 1301. I'll say test MRP 1301, for example. Save it. Now I can, at the same time, I created within one background job, I created one step. I can add more steps. I can click on create again. For example, I can use the same program. Because I created one more variant, it will show me all of them. That's the second one. So same way you can create as many as variant you want. I can check, save. You can see the second step here. So same way I can create here multiple steps if you want within the same program. And not only this program, you can run some other programs as well within the same job. But the standard procedure is you should be using the steps you want to create here should be linked to the same program. It's not like here I'm running MRP, but also I'm running some sales order processing within the steps here. So you need to create a separate job for that. But for anything linked to MRP, you can create more steps here. Now I can go back. And also there's an email notification, for example, here. So here you can enter the email ID of the person, for example, who will be receiving the email output. So email output, there are two options. If the job is cancelled, that should be sent, or even the job is completed and cancelled, that should be sent on this ID. This email output is something useful where somebody wants to receive a report, like I've shown you before, VA05 sales order report. In that case, you will schedule the sales order report in the background and enter the email ID of the person here who should be receiving it, for example. And now we'll go to the start condition. When I click on the start condition, there are different ways. For example, I can click on immediate, and I can, if I save it, for example, if I save it, I can click on check and save. And if you can see here saying immediate start, I can save it. It will run immediately, but it's a one-off. Or I can click on start condition. I can say date and time. For example, I want to start it on a specific day. For example, I want to start it from tonight at some specific time, and here I can enter some specific time. For example, I can click on this icon, I can say PM. For example, I want to run it during the midnight, right? So I want to run it at say 000 time, for example, which is midnight. And here if you click on periodic, this periodic value, I can run it on periodic value. For example, if I can select hourly should be running, daily, weekly, monthly, other period. If I select other period, in the other period you can say, for example, every 2 months. For example, here I can say I want to run it every 2 months, or every 3 weeks, or after in those many days, or after 2 hours, for example, every 2 hours or 5 hours. You can also enter that I want to run it every say 10 minutes, for example, depending on what job it is. But when you talk about this MRP job, this should be running daily. If I select daily, I can click on check, and then I can save. So here you can see this periodic job is ticked. If I go back to periodic value, you can see this one is selected, daily. You can also, let me save it. You can also click on restriction. For example, you want to run it as per the factory calendar. So whatever the working days defined in the working calendar, you want to use that. So in that case, you need to select your factory calendar, whatever factory calendar is there. If you don't know about factory calendar, then I also created a video before for this one, and you can watch that video. I'll put in the description of this video, and you can watch it. So I can say, I can select that, and there are different options here. For example, if it's a holiday, then move it to the previous day, next day, like that. So for example, here for this US calendar, if there's a 5 days working in the US calendar, and I'm running it on every day on daily basis, and the calendar is saying I'm 5 days working only, Monday to Friday, then job will be running only Monday to Friday. Okay, it will skip Saturday, Sunday, because we said use a factory calendar. I can check and I can apply. So once this is done, if I click on check, if I click on save, then you can see it will show you daily. That's the planning start time, and that's a start time, and that's a date, right? Now for now, what I will do, I will just run it immediately. I will just run it immediately so that I can show you the result in SM37. If I click on check, if I click on save, here you can see status is scheduled. If I save it, it will, because I selected immediately, it will start running immediately. So if I save it, now if I go back to SM37, I can monitor it. So I need to remember this name, ZMRP. I can go to SM37, and here if you do not remember, you can put Z star, for example, and you can search by user, or I can put star instead of username, and I can select all, like show me schedule, release, ready, active, finished, cancelled. So, and you can also filter for date, and if I just run it, you can see it's finished. It's showing me it's finished. It took 7 seconds only to run it in the background. So this way you can run it, and if I create it, for example, you can also see the result. If I select this one, and I can go to job log, here you can see the result. So whatever happened, any error, you will see everything here. So you know that what's happening with this job. You can also, for example, I need to run it again. I can select that, go to job, click on copy. You can copy it. When you copy it, you can rename it. For example, I can call it A1, or you can call it morning, evening. If you're running 2 jobs, anything you can call it. I just renamed it just to keep it separate. I can copy, and here you can see after copying, I can select it. I can go to job. It will copy everything except the time. If I click on steps, you can see all the steps are there, and I can click on start condition, date and time. I will use the same date and time, and I can check and save. Now it's saying scheduled on this date, on this time. If I save it, it will not run now, but if I refresh it, it's saying I'm released. Released means it's waiting for that time to start. at midnight. I can also double click on it. I can see this is scheduled for this time and this date. And also you can see, because I did not select daily or monthly, so you can see job frequency is nothing. But it will be a one-off. But if you want to fix it, you can select it, job change. Now I can fix it. That was a planned time, but I can go to start condition. I can also say periodic value. I can say that should be daily. Check, save. Now you can see this showing daily. If I save it, show daily. So this way, for example, if I want to run it I just want to see the filter from today's date up to say next 10 days. If I execute that, you will see there's one entry here for now. There's one entry here for now, which is saying I'm daily. But every day after running, you will see one job is saying I'm finished, one job will be saying I'm released. Because as soon as the first job is finished, the next one will be automatically released if you have created the job frequency as per daily, monthly, or whatever you want. So that's how you can maintain. And if I show you the system here, if I just run for everything, you will see, if I just run it for one day, you will see there's a lot of background jobs running. So you can see these are the ones. So these are some automatic ones. They are automatically activated and they're doing some basis work behind the screen when the system is installed. So you can see if I scroll down, there's so many jobs here. But this one is created by somebody like production startup and all that. But these ones you can see metadata, OData and all that. So a lot of them, they are created automatically. So that's how you can create and maintain background jobs. Hope that's clear. Thank you very much to watch this.